What's up guys? In this video, I'm going to tell you the top 5 tips that I have for you to grow your agency in 2024 and going into 2025 using some of the tools and technology that we have at our disposal now, that if you don't use these, some other agent will, and they're going to have more activity and pass you up. And this is also for those agents out there that are not the average old guy insurance agent that's checked out and is pretty much just doing the old school, even filing cabinets and doing everything by phone and by paper and hand. These are going to be tips that are going to help you build a more efficient agency that's going to make you a lot more money and bypass all your competitors. So listen up. These are things I'm doing and I think are going to be really helpful for you to grow your agency in 2024. So let's dive into it. There are 2 things that grow an insurance agency. The first thing, very obvious, is sales. You need to make sales. How do you make sales? You get opportunities, leads, and you have to get in front of more people. So opportunities equal quotes equal sales. Now, the other thing that you can do to grow your agency, this is also what I consider in the growth, but more so in the retention. So there's sales and then there's retention. So one thing is you're selling $1 million in premium, but you're actually, losing $900,000 a year. You're growing only by $100,000. So if you can grow by $1 million and also retain 90%, $900,000, only lose $100,000, that's also what I consider in that growth category. So sales, growing organically, and then also retaining the business that you're bringing in. Those are 2 pivotal parts of growing an insurance agency. So I'm going to give you the first tip that I wish I knew sooner, and I can't believe it took me so long to even implement something like this. But the first tip is to utilize forms. Utilizing forms, digital forms for your quotes. So instead of using a quote sheet and using a manual hand quote sheet, creating a digital form that every agent, anybody that calls in, texts you, emails you, you put it into this form and it gets stored into a centralized database or a lead or even a pipeline. That is one thing that I highly, highly recommend. You can always retarget them, build some automation into it later and do things with those customers and have a record digitally that you can always go back to and just type in, boom, pop them up and then retarget them later. Don't just write it on a piece of paper. The amount of leads that I have stored away in the filing cabinet, like I'm talking mad crap about these agents out there, the old guys. I did the exact same thing when I first started, and I have stacks, folders of just filled with leads that I wish were digitally recorded and I could retarget. That's the main purpose of the forms, is to retarget. Also, it will help your team's efficiency later when somebody calls in. They can easily pull a prospect up and know who they are and have info on them, instead of kind of wasting the time to do that all again and get that same information over if they call back 7 months later. Trust me, you want to create digital forms for every opportunity and lead that comes into your office. Okay, tip number 2 is then now you have these digital copies of these customers and opportunities. How do you retarget them? So one major point that you want to bring into these digital forms is expiration dates. Gathering expiration dates or even just effective dates of customers' policies. That specific date allows you to build out campaigns, build out even just an Excel list of like, okay, here's everybody coming up in July for renewal. You can hire somebody, you can call them, you can send an email blast, you can text them. There's so many different options. You can do whatever you want with that, but gathering and retargeting expiration dates or effective dates for these customers, specifically the large ones, like you want to make sure you start to now, one thing maybe in that form, you put in the premium size where you can sort by a large premium size, and then you can always retarget your large opportunities. This is a basic thing that I wish I did sooner. And if you just kept in front of you all the big clients that you've now talked to over the last 3-4 years of doing insurance, You would be amazed the size of opportunities and pipeline you can build out just by tracking the expiration and effective dates of large customers. So retargeting big leads. Okay, another very, very important tip, especially if you're working with business owners, but this goes for across the board. You know, building up the P&C book of business, super important. You got the forms, you got the retargeting, you got the customer. Let's just say you got the general liability, you got the workers' comp and the home and the auto for the customer. Now, one thing that does not just sell easily is life insurance. Lots of agents, I'm sure you're aware, but people don't just come looking for life insurance. That is something that needs to be sold. So kind of targeting and also cross-selling some of these opportunities that have been sold already that are customers in your book of business and selling them life insurance, doing a quick review with them and offering at the very, very minimum, if you have a life insurance license, it is your duty to ask those customers for a life insurance quote and offer them a life insurance quote to protect their family. If they do not show up tomorrow, how does their family sustain the financial situation that they're in? Taking a look at all your customers that don't have life insurance and at the very minimum, cross-selling them life insurance. The great part about this is not only are you doing a great job as an insurance agent and doing your duty, but there are massive commissions also in life insurance sales. So building up that foundation with your book, your P&C book, and then eventually taking a look at everything and cross-selling opportunities, especially for business owners. They do not have life insurance plans. The phone's ringing, people are calling in for leads and opportunities and quotes. Business owners do not have life insurance through their company. Typically, they own their own business. They don't have a plan. So those are excellent candidates, especially if you're in the commercial side. So tracking all your customers, retargeting big clients, and then ultimately cross-selling for life insurance. Okay, now we're going into that second thing I mentioned. That's the sales and the growth. Those are some basic tips. Highly, highly recommend you do those things in 2024 to grow. And now, how do you keep these customers, once they're in the boat? How do you keep them in the boat and don't let the ship start leaking and it starts sinking? The number one thing is pending cancellations. Having a very dialed in process for pending cancellations, being aware who's coming up for pending cancellation. One thing we do is we have a running Google Sheet that has all the people pending cancellations. We work with 10, 15, 20 different companies, having a centralized place where all those pending cancellations notices are placed month to month. And then what we do is we have 4 to 5 different follow-ups. We do a text, email, call, text, email, call. And the great part about these things, if you're using the right system, I'm going to do a quick shout out to Tudo. Boom! Tudo. That is the system that we use. I plug it in all the time because it is such a powerful tool. You can actually automate some of those things from your pending cancellation sheet, literally from a Google Sheet. You can have it automated and tied into Tudo, so you don't have to be manually texting every customer or manually sending out an email to every customer. You can actually have some of those things automated. Pending cancellations saves your service reps a ton of time. And ultimately, like I said in the beginning of this video, makes your agency more efficient, up to date with technology. These little things, they start to stack up when you're saving time and being more efficient to bypass that old, Allstate guy down the street that's been checked out and he's got his feet up because he's got a nice, $7-8 million book. You're going to be starting to take away his clients and you're going to be more efficient and keep the clients. And that's how you start to win. Okay, last tip I have for you when it comes to retention. You've already built up the book. You've already saved the customers from pending cancellation. The last thing is just building that extra personal touch and customer satisfaction. One thing that you can do is build in some automation also for birthday cards, welcome cards, doing like Google reviews and customer surveys just to see kind of where people are at. These are also very simple things that can be automated. This is probably even one of the first places I would recommend for people to start with if you're interested in automation. It's like one of the most basic things, like a birthday card or like Google reviews or surveys. Like that's a very good place to start with a little bit of automation and then kind of get your feet wet with it. That's one of the most important things you can do to build that extra layer of customer satisfaction. Maybe if they do a Google review, you send them a $10 gift card to Starbucks or whatever, Amazon, for doing the review as a thank you, and really showing customers that you're going the extra mile. You have a little more personal touch than the other agent. Like I said, that Allstate guy's got his feet up. He's definitely not sending out birthday cards. He's definitely not sending out welcome cards. He's not doing those extra little things or even just checking in to see how your customer's satisfaction is. So those are my top 5 tips for you to be, ahead of the game, be a little bit better than the other agent in 2024. And it's those little tiny things that stack up over time that make the difference to, from good agents to great agents to the best agents out there. Take those tips, implement them to the best of your ability. Also, guys, I have a phone number now if you want to text me directly, consulting, or even if you want to talk about Tudo, happy to help. My number, this is a number you can text, 310-496-6678. Sorry, I have not memorized it yet because it's brand new. But yeah, check that out. If you want to go to chriscostantini.com, you can also do that to schedule a one-on-one consultation with me. That's all I got. We'll see you guys at the top. Hopefully these tips help you. See you soon. Peace.